Hello friends, this is Scott, and I'm back at the grape trellis. Did a video. This is kind of part two of video vlog 90 that I did back on April 1st, which was time to overhaul my grape trellis, which I'll link in the description. But I needed the vines to grow out so that I know where to train the vines. So I whacked them all down to nothing, and then this is what's grown. And it is June 22nd, so this is the amount of growth. And as I peek in here, there's even a cluster of little grapes in there. So I didn't think I'd have any grapes. It's the way I whacked these plants all the way down. So today is the day that I got to tighten the wires and fix, kind of take the top off the trellis. And then I'm going to figure out which vines as I prune that I want to attach to the trellis. Now here's a look at the hardware. Now this is the standard metal trellising wire. It has a couple little bolt assemblies that go to one end. And then on the other end, I'll bounce up a little bit. You can't see in all these vines, but we'll look above, and there is the turnbuckle. As you see, there's a space in the turnbuckle. What I'm going to do is I want to make sure that I open that all the way up as I readjust these lines. So the first step is I've got to unscrew all these little bolts. So it's kind of a time-consuming process. And I think I was kind of dreading this project because the older I get, trying to work with my arms over my head, my shoulders don't work as well as they used to. And my eyesight's not as good. So you see me squinting because I can see far, but not near since I had LASIK. So I'm doing a little squinting today to try to see these parts. But here's the turnbuckle. As I say, I want to have this all the way open. So when I do tighten it, the final step will be to turn the turnbuckle and it'll pull that wire tight. So this just gives you a good look. It's not a hard process, just takes a few minutes. But again, I want to have this turnbuckle all the way open so that I have plenty of wiggle room to get this wire as tight as I can make it. Now, when I take off the top of this trellis with the spacer bar, it's going to pull the posts together a little bit, which will loosen up all the wires. So I've got to be careful not to over tighten. But here we go. This is how you reattach. You can see where the bend was, kind of see. Underneath the camera here, it looks like. But I'm just going to hook it back up. I'm going to pull the wire tight. And then I'm going to push the slack end through the bolts again, put the bolts back on. That will hold this in place. And these little bolts are small, and it's a little wrench, so it takes a little bit of time to tighten these up. It's a little bit of a pain. But again, working over my head is not the best for my shoulders. So I think that is why I was dreading this project. So once I have the bolts tightened, I just hand tighten this turnbuckle and I turn it away from me and it tightens up both sides, opposite screws. And I get the wire snug, but I don't want to overdo it because again, this post is going to get pulled in. Both posts are cemented in, but that spacer got all warped and that's why I'm removing it. And I don't have another board right now, so I took the top layer off because I kept getting into the neighbor's yard. So I think it'll be better just to whack this top off and not have all the vines grow into the neighbor's little carport area next door. But as you see, the wires are pretty snug. But here I come with my new electric chainsaw that I bought a month ago or so. And I'm just going to whack the top of this off. And I'm going to try not to hit myself in the face with this board that's attached. So we'll put my glasses on because I'm flipping all the shavings in my eyes. Safety first. Well, here we go, and then I pinch off the saw, it looks like here, right here. And so I start to have to fight with it a little bit. And it's not coming. And it's not coming out. So I'm messing around here. And yeah, got myself in a little predicament. I was going to go get a little bit of a wedge, but I'll just fight with it a little bit more and yank it out of here. There we go. So now I've got to make the back cut, and I've got to make sure that I'm not going to hit myself again in the face. And I didn't know if I was or not, but I did give it a little bit of a nick, and then I'm going to go put the chainsaw down, and we'll see how this goes. So after putting the chainsaw down, I'm going to climb back up the ladder, and I'm going to see if I can just snap this top of this off and lay it down. Well, let's see how we do here. Piece of cake. Yep, I'll just set it down, and You can see how warped that board is. It just wasn't doing any good anymore. And you can see how loose those wires are. But here it is. I did cut the other side. I forgot to film it. As you can see here, this is what we got. Now we got to figure out which vines we want to train to the trellises and to the different wires. So first step is I'm going to cut some of the ones that are obviously not the ones I want to use, the ones very low. And I'm just going to do a little bit of a prune job. And I've just got to analyze this grape as I go. Now again, I started this process when these vines were long enough that I could tell which ones could probably go to which vine. It is a very tall trellis, so I need to let it grow for a couple of months after I totally pruned it down. But I'm getting rid of all these little suckers on the bottom, and then I'm really going to just check out which ones are closest to which wire and make sure they're inward buds so that they're not, I don't have to bend them more. Grapevines are very, they're kind of a tender, delicate plant, so if you mess with them too much, you just snap them right off the plant. So I'm looking through here, cutting and seeing what will work. And again, the neighbors, I always seem to get my grapevines through the neighbors, either up and under or over the top of this fence. And so I'd rather not bother them with all these grapevines. They tend to, at the end of the year, if I let them get out of control, they even end up in the front yard. So I've got to stay on top of this now that I'm trellising it, so that next year, I'll keep pruning as it grows. I'll keep attaching it to the wires. More active in keeping it to the right shape, and so next year that I can be back to having a decent crop. Again, these grapes are both, there's a green seedless variety as well as a red seedless variety, and I just let them, I train them under the same wires, and then they all get mixed together, and then I have kind of a mixed bag of grapes hanging from the wires. Now here is my favorite way or product to attach the vines to the wire, and this is a little Velcro tape. And all you do is you need scissors, or you can just tear them with your hands. They're not that hard. But all you do is you cut them. You don't want to pinch the vines too tight. So you want to cut little strips that have enough room, wiggle room, that these vines can grow and expand without being pinched. But that's about the size that I usually use. And this has Velcro on both sides. And so it'll either stick either way you go. That way, that's the inside out or outside out. And it sticks both ways. So that's how you attach them to the wires. So I'll be cutting a lot of these little strips and just figuring out which vine is the most appropriate to go to which of these trellis lines. And I'm just going to use these Velcro strips to attach them. And then they do have their own tendrils, which they'll attach themselves to everything. But they need a little bit of help, a little bit of guidance to start with so that they go to the right place. Mind the look of a white fence, but it gets a little bit overwhelming. So that's why I really like this grape trellis to be nice and tall, because it kind of breaks up this, blocks this white fence, and it's a lot more visually appealing. Now here I'm going to do a little speed taping, and I'm attaching the vines to the wires. And again, as they grow, I'll have to keep this process going, as well as do more pruning of the suckers. But it's looking like this side's coming together pretty well, and I'm getting everything attached. So here we go. The first one's done, at least for now, and it looks okay. Again, it's going to fill in, and it's going to look really full and thick. Again, I sacrificed most of my grape crop, if not all of it, when I cut this all the way down a couple months ago. Now here's the other side, and this one's thicker. So this is the purple variety, and I'm just going to go to town on this one. And it's got a lot more growth low, and I've got to try to figure out if I've got any that can go higher. And I'm just seeing what I can do here. And once I find one, I'm starting to attach it while I'm still pruning away. But this one was a little bit more difficult. I had a hard time. I had to keep adjusting and moving and thinking I had the right vines, and I didn't, and I had to move them. But here's the end result. It turned out pretty good. Again, I need these vines to, especially the taller ones, to grow more so I could get them more established. Now here's some grapes. There's still a couple little clusters, so I'll at least get a couple grapes. And the big thing with this is when it gets really full, the birds get in here and they feel very confident. And there's some of their little vine tendrils. But the birds get very confident and when they're inside, and they eat up all the grapes. So it's better to have some airflow, have some space so that the birds don't feel so comfortable to get in there and just go to town. So here's the look at the finished product. you know, it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it will definitely fill in by the end of the year, and it'll be a nice living wall. And then next year, as long as I keep it pruned, I'll have another year of good grapes. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And it's not a complicated process, but it needs to be done every now and then. You got to start over and retrain everything. So thanks for watching, and I appreciate all your support. And if you like these type of videos, please subscribe to my channel, like, share, and comment, as I'd love to hear from you. Thank you.